So today we're going to talk about undefined terms and defined terms. So our first three undefined terms are points, line, and plane. So those are all undefined terms in geometry. We're going to talk about how to name them and what they look like. So this first one here, we have a point. So a point is a point that indicates a location and has no size. So to name a point, we just use a capital letter. So we would say A, or you could write the word in front of it. You could write point A. Next, we have a line, which is a straight path that extends in two opposite directions without end and has no thickness, and it has infinitely many points. So to name a line, we take 2 points on that line, and we're going to put arrows above and put the capital letters underneath. You could put this in either order. This says line AB. We could flip it and have it say line BA. Also, if there is a lowercase letter next to the line, we can write the word line and then C. For a plane, that's a flat surface without end and has no thickness, and that has infinitely many lines in it. So to name a plane, we can write the word plane, and we can use the capital script letter, so plane R, or we can use 3 points that lie in the plane that are not collinear, and we'll talk about what collinear means here shortly. Then we have a line with beginning and ending with endpoints. So here we have a segment AB, so kind of like labeling a line, except for we're not going to put the arrows. You can put points on the end if you want, or just no arrows. Again, you can label that as segment BA and flip the letters. Next, we have array, and that is a line with one endpoint. So you can pick one of the points to start with. So we'll start with, say, C, and then you can go in the direction. You have to have 2 letters, so we're going to have to go to the left. And we're going to use B or A, it doesn't matter, it's the same ray. And then we're going to put 1 arrow going in the direction from the endpoint. You could also do CB, that would be the same ray. And then opposite rays are 2 rays that share the same endpoint and form a line. So now here we have to be careful, we have to make sure that we're starting in the middle, so that way we're forming a line. So we're going to start with B, and we're going to go to the right and go BC. And then we're also going to go to the left and go BA. And those would be opposite rays that share the same endpoint. And then lastly, we have a postulate or axiom, and that is just an accepted statement or fact. So a few other vocab words, we have the word collinear, so that means that 2 or more points that lie on the same line. Coplanar is 2 or more points that lie on the same plane. And then lastly, we have an angle, and that is formed by 2 rays. Would that make up the sides, and then a common endpoint, which is the vertex. So real quick, we're just going to go over 4 postulates that we need to know. So one is that through any 2 points, there is exactly 1 line. And the second one is if 2 distinct lines intersect, then they intersect in exactly 1 point. If 2 distinct planes intersect, then they intersect in exactly 1 line. And through any 3 non-collinear points, there is exactly 1 plane. So the important thing there to remember is that lines intersect in a point, planes intersect in a line, and you have to have 3 non-collinear points to make a plane. We're just going to look at a few examples here. So the first example says to name a segment using this picture. So a segment, again, has to have 2 endpoints. So there's multiple examples here. We're just going to throw up a few. So we can go segment UB. The big thing is you want to make sure we're using capital letters and the correct label above. We can go BH. And we could also go BX. And again, you could flip-flop any of those letters. A pair of opposite rays, so they have to share the same endpoint and form a line. So our point in the middle there is B, so we're going to go BH and then BU. And again, making sure that we have the correct label above. What are other ways that you can name UB? So if we look at line UB, yes, we could flip the letters and do line BU, but we want to look at other letters, so we'll go with, we can use line UH. Again, with the arrows on top, we could also do line BH with the arrows on top. And if we look here, we have a lowercase letter, so we could also write line L. Which point does not lie in plane S? So if we go back up here, we've got our plane S right here. And the only point that is not in the plane is X. 3 collinear points, so those are 3 points that are on the same line. So we only have one of those, so we have one line, and the 3 points on that line are U, B, and H. And then which is a way to label plane S? So we have plane UBH, plane UXH, and plane UBE. So if we look at UBH, those are all collinear, so we cannot name the plane that way because all those points are on the same line. UXH, X does not lie in the plane. We just saw that with the other example. So since it's not in the plane, we cannot label the plane using that letter. So that means we can use UBE. So take a minute to go through the notes, think about any questions that you have, and write those down on the right-hand side on your notes. And if you have any questions while doing the worksheet, you can add those to that section there too.